Ambassador Bhaswati Mukherjee, I'm going to begin by asking you a straightforward question. This changes the very nature of diplomacy, especially the diplomatic relationship between India and Pakistan, because now action will be met by action. That's the new normal.
Actually, you summarized it so well that, that there is really nothing much I can add except to say the following, that it was high time that we replaced the earlier doctrine by proactive deterrence. What we need to do is to go one step further and to remove the restraint we have put on ourselves on the nuclear issue on no first use. Because Pakistan, from day one, said they don't agree on no first use. We said to show that we are a mature nuclear nation, we believe in no first use. But if you have a neighbor who believes that it can terrorize us through nuclear escalation and whose generals actually have the finger on the nuclear button and not the civilians, especially now with the field marshal, it is time that we added to this proactive deterrence by removing our no first use doctrine. Secondly, you asked a very valid question, Krishna. You said, if there is another attack, and I'm sure there will be, because I think the ceasefire, we should have continued for another 5 days and wiped out much more stuff than we did, because we agreed to the ceasefire, which the DGMO from Pakistan asked, our DGMO, but naturally Trump jumped in and said he got the ceasefire done. So the point here is that if there is a second incident, I can say with confidence that this government will definitely be highly combative in its response, because that's the only way to deal with a bully who uses nuclear to strut around like they're strutting around now, claiming such great mediation victories when they're a completely bankrupt nation. So I think that the people of India will demand that we strike back.
Where does that leave India today in terms of diplomacy between India and Pakistan? Because if the doctrine has changed, how does it change the playground for diplomats?
I agree with my co-panelist. It was Deng Xiaoping actually who said that China should first become a great economic power before it becomes a great political power. And that is exactly what my co-panelist is saying. And that is the priority of the government, which is development. On the other hand, if you have a neighbor who has violated a fundamental nuclear doctrine, which is that two nuclear weapon states don't go into conventional wars with each other. That was the deterrence which worked during the Cold War, because it was called MAD, Mutual Assured Destruction. And that doctrine worked very well in preventing World War III when the world was divided into two hostile nuclear blocs. But Pakistan, Wing Pahalgam, violated it. And since it is a totally unpredictable nation, the military has control over the civilian government, it is very difficult to say when they will strike and how they will strike. But strike they will, because visceral enmity to India is what keeps the Pakistani state intact. And with Donald Trump violating international law and demonstrating that the only thing that keeps a nation state safe from Trump is a large and powerful nuclear arsenal. That's why he doesn't go after North Korea, but he's gone after Iran, a 5,000-year civilization. In which case, I would like to thank Atalji for having made us into a nuclear weapon state, because those nuclear weapons and our arsenal is what keeps us safe in an uncertain world where the global order as we know it has collapsed and the new order has not emerged. That is how Gramsci said when he was in Mussolini's cell. He said, when the old order collapses and the new order does not yet emerge, that is when the monsters emerge. I think that is a very good statement that Gramsci made alone in his cell when he was put there by Mussolini. Krishna.